Welcome to the Empowering Process Podcast. Gail Craft here. And today we're going to share some time with Reverend Sheila Tillich. Now, Sheila is a visionary healer, galactic channeler, and recovery metaphysicalist. We're going to talk about light codes, energy therapy, awakening, galactic power, being a birthing grandmother. Who knows? Come join us. It will be an interesting conversation.
And
Hi.
as I promised, here's Sheila. Hey, Sheila, how are you?
Oh, I am amazing. I'm very excited about connecting with all of your people today. So this is great. Your audience. Yay.
You know, I have been fascinated by you since I met you, because you're in a place that, to me, you've been there. I'm relatively new compared to how long you have been in this space. And
Hmm.
yet I've known about it my entire life. It's just, hiding in the closet, hiding in the closet. And so share with us a little bit about what you've been experiencing for the last 40 years, and then we can talk about what the heck do you mean when you say Galactic Grandmother Midwife?
Oh, yeah. That's a big term, but my team of helpers have been with me since the very beginning and has been helping me. And I've always been able to communicate with angels since I was a kid, and I'm hard of hearing, but I can hear angels and talk to them. So I've had to go through my own development, and it was about 40 years ago is when I finally stepped into my magnificence, who I really am. I still had a lot of growing to do, but it's been the last 5 years that they actually shared with me exactly what my role is as a star mother midwife and rebirthing America. What does that mean? So my background is huge. I have many different modalities that I do, but also preparing on my journey to do what I do now. And I've always been attracted to water. Always. I was a fish when I was a kid. We lived out west. And when I had my children in the 70s, I wanted to have water births. But at that time, it really wasn't into play, yeah, like it is now. And what has been revealed to me is that I was part of first generation Lemurians in Lemuria, which is when we became humans with the DNA that we have now. And my role was to help in the birthing process in the warm pools, the birthing pools. And some people know what they are and some people don't. My role as a first generation meant that I had a Palladian star mother, and then I had a humanoid at that time, star father. And when I was born, I was born with the DNA, the 23 biological, you can actually see chromosomes, and then the multidimensional chromosome. And that's what we all have. But my role as a Shaw woman, in other words, a shaman, helping in nature, was to help birth the babies when the star mothers had the babies in the water with the whales and all the codes and stuff like that. So I was destined to do this work right now.
Is that a Lemurian root?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Lemurian roots, which we all have, and of course, there's many of us that are just coming in now from other star systems, which is true too. But the key is we all have the humanoid DNA template, which is the multidimensional, which is our abilities, our telepath abilities, our, of course, all of our intuitions. And it is the frequency that is alive now. So when you hear about this energy changing, and especially in the last 5 years, and there's many reasons for that. However, for me to explain my part in it, it was in 2020 when they revealed to me exactly what my role was as a birthing midwife to the galactic realm. And that meant to help reawaken who you really are, reawaken the 24th chromosome with all the codes, the light codes that we have now, the
You know,
light
it's
body.
really interesting what I've been experiencing, and it's daily, because I'm seeing people that I haven't seen for a while, and it almost breaks my heart to see how they're stuck, and
Um,
they're almost fighting to stay where they are. Their arguments just make no sense to me anymore. Um, and I cannot talk to them about what's really going on in their life because they just don't understand. So let me give you an example from yesterday where I had two people. We actually cooked dinner together, which is a fun thing to do, right? Who's
yeah.
chopping, who's mixing, who's whatever. And we're sitting down, and one dug into her history and political beliefs, and really like dug in, and the other you could see was she didn't say anything, but she wanted to know more.
Hmm.
Right. So I actually left her a message this morning. I said, let's talk, right? Let's talk. And it's that like she wants to come out of the closet, not quite ready yet. She sticks her toe out and then brings it back. And so I'm seeing the division, and division is conflict,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right? And I'm not interested in conflict anymore because I see your root, right? I see your heart, and I feel sorry for your pain, but hell, I went through it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about what that means, the birthing, because you're talking maybe to people who don't understand some of this, what
Oh,
it
yeah.
means to be birth, because you and I do very similar things, but in a different way. Go ahead.
Exactly. Exactly. So my role as a metaphysician um, is encompassing a lot of different modalities, but it's all about the energy and the frequency that we carry within our cellular memory, which means our DNA and our physical bodies. And what is happening right now is many people are not awakened to the higher frequency and they're still living in the fear, the lower density frequency. And so they're picking up all this negative energy that's coming from those who aren't awakened yet. And that is exactly my role. What I do and what you do is help release the negative energy that keeps them in the fear, keeps them in the control, keep them thinking the way that they think. So we, as light beings, right, our role is to come from our light in our heart and expand that frequency out to them so that they start awaken, they start to feel. But many of them don't feel worthy enough to be in this realm because of the negative energy that's been in their cells from the beginning of time for survival.
Well,
So our that's the root.
yeah,
The root
Sheila,
stuff.
even I will say, who am I to play this role that I'm playing? Right? Who am I to
Why
be the
aren't you?
person to walk with you through the valley of the shadow of death? Who am I to bear witness to your awakening? And then the voice in me goes, you are a divine being and your purpose is to do that.
Exactly. We're all
Right?
light beings. That's right. That's the awakening. Realizing that there's more to this life that we live than we were told. But it also had to be at the right time, the divine time, for that wisdom to come out. So when we talk about wisdom, we're talking about life experiences and our identity of who we are in this lifetime. And
I
many
Go ahead. No, go
they
ahead.
can't. They can't because they're so wrapped up in all the actual programming and imprints and behaviors and way that they live their lives. And that's what our role is to help them. Okay, let's back up and let's go within. Let's go within to who you really are.
Understanding that reality is going to blow your mind. And this is where the resistance comes in. I mean, you and I saw a dear friend of ours who's, she had a very quick awakening and she had many like, holy crap moments, right? Because when you realize that these aren't your real lies, right? That what you're seeing is a projection, like you are the movie real, then everything that you believe to be true starts to fall apart.
Well,
And that's when,
that's
right? And that's the dark night. And that's what we're here for. When it falls apart, don't be alone.
mhm,
Don't be alone. We are there to help you navigate this awakening.
right. And you don't
Yeah.
have to be alone. But many people, as I said, don't feel worthy because
Yeah.
they've been told the old programming for survival. And this is the magical time of humanity where our galactic ancestors have been waiting for this time, but we had to be ready a certain point. And that's been happening for quite a while now, especially the last 40 years, what you talked
Oh,
about.
absolutely. And I'll tell you, so I'm, in San Diego now, and this is in 2012 when I had that bam. Like, what's literally, did you just feel that? I could feel the
Well,
thinning of
that was
2012.
the year of the portals opening,
Yes, and I could feel it.
the consciousness portals that were placed by the Pleiadians way before Earth was evolved and where we are now. But it was prophesized by the galactic, by the astrology, Mayan calendar, something was going to happen. And it was the shifting of the Earth and then also the planets aligning up to allow this frequency to open up. And
Right. It's all math and
it's all
sacred
part of the shift.
geometry. Yep.
The shift, yes, the
Yep.
shift. That's why I love the scientific part about it. And I was very skeptical about it from the very beginning. And I was in mainstream healthcare. And
Hmm.
so that's why it was part of my wisdom that had to grow within inside me. It's like that seed that had to slowly open up. And when we look at it, it's really the experiences that you've had so that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is real and that your heart opens up. And your heart is the light gateway, the light being gateway to all of this. But I had to go through everything. And that's what all of us are going through. And the ones that are still on the fence there, we have to break down completely before we can break up.
That's the
And
alchemy process. You have to,
exactly,
and you cannot
exactly.
put back together the pieces on the ground, leave them. And that's very hard for the ego to leave those pieces on the ground. But I promise you, the second you consciously and intentionally take control of ego and you say, I don't want that anymore, I want to go this way, ego will support you,
Exactly.
right?
And what I help people understand, and I've been a healer in integrated energy therapy for since 2012, 2013, and it's with the angels. And it's actually that violet light frequency that's coming through the core earth, the flame. And when people hear of Saint Germain and the violet flame, that's exactly what it is. It is the quantum energy consciousness grid in the earth that holds the frequency of the divine and the galactic and all of our helpers, especially Lemurians and Pleiadians and all the star systems. And when the grids started opening up, I mean the full grids, the nodes and the nulls, which are positive and negative consciousness grids around the earth, that started opening from 2012 all the way to 2019, these actually resonated with our DNA, our physical DNA. And when I talked to people, what was going on from 2012 on, or even before. So in integrated energy therapy, it's about bringing the power of the quantum energy to release the top layers. You have many, many layers. And the ego is the bottom one, which of course is the root chakra, but we deal with cellular memory, not ours is more DNA. all right, and not so much chakras and universal light. This is quantum light, quantum help. And so when people understand that, we have many things that trigger us. And the ego is the way of standing in your power, not being hurt, survival. And so when you can help them understand is that there's a healthy ego, and then there's the dark shadow ego. And the shark shadow ego is what keeps you stuck and keeps you in the fear and keeps you in that fighting modality, especially in the political stuff that's happening now. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
obvious.
So
It's
it's so obvious. And I want to touch a little bit about ego because one of the coachable things that I hate is coaches trying to discount ego and um, kill ego or get away from ego. That's you. Why would you do that to yourself? Ego is still you.
because
It's
that's how they survived. That's how they survived.
right. And so what I like to do is like, thank you, ego, for showing up. Is this real? Is it not? And if it's not, okay, baby, calm down, right? Where is that energy stuck? Like, and I don't like release the energy. I lean into the feeling because when you lean into the feeling, you're not causing resistance and it will organically release
Yes.
rather than me trying to release it. I am actually causing more resistance and rooting it more. Again, another coach problem, right? About, oh, you need to always be positive. Well, no, no, some things I'm not positive about.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to explain it is getting to the core issue. How did you get that in the first place? And that's where integrated energy therapy comes in with the angels, which are really the star mothers, the quantum energy, the violet flame that's coming through. And once you understand the actual energy process, how it got imprinted into the fields, our physical fields, in our relationships, in the way that we think, the way that we behave, it all ties in, understanding all that. So yeah, the ego is huge. It's huge.
It's huge. And for those who don't know Saint Germain, because you mentioned him, I'm going to go there. Um, Saint Germain was a human who reincarnated, and succeeded in all of the trials that he had to accomplish. It's called the initiation. We all go through it, and got to the point where the heavens or whatever said, you are now ready. You have ascended, and he ascended to become an angel. So he understands the struggle that we're going through.
Excellent, absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of people explain it in different ways, but it's basically it is the quantum energy that's here. And he was a mystic, all right, and he is associated with the Bible. He's also associated with angel Metatron, and that's been one of my angels that have been with me since the beginning of time. But it's also the Merkaba cube. It is the Metatron cube, which is the sacred geometry of who we are and how we came to be. In Mount Shasta, which that is where my consciousness went as Princess Sophia from Lemuria, and Sophia is used a lot. Sophia is just a divine woman with power opening up, all right? The power of the divine feminine,
I was going to
right?
say, and she also holds the gateway.
Well, that's what we're
Yeah.
talking about with the flame, all right, and the energy coming up from the consciousness grid, but it's also the three grids. So it's still the sacred geometry. And when we talk about the three grids, we're talking about the crystalline consciousness grid, which is trying to recalibrate our body to that frequency. That's what all these ascension symptoms and all the stuff that we're going through. And then you have the Merkaba field, which is a field around you, which you bring people into. That's where our heart center is. And then we have the magnetic field above, which is the actual solar flares and the codes that are coming in, and the collective, and how we can connect it with the heart center frequency. So we got the three flowing. And yes, it is the violet flame. It's also in Mount Shasta, it's called Adamus. Adamas is Saint Germain. Saint Germain is three different things. Saint Germain, angel Metatron, the triangle. Say the Metatron cube and Adamas. And it's all the violet flame.
Oh my gosh. So last night I was talking about how everything is a trilogy. Everything is a triad because we're made of sacred geometry. And even the circle is triangles creating the circle.
Around
Yes,
the
yes.
mandala. Yep,
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 the
yep.
Mandela is right. So
And I also had, this is from yesterday, an event I did yesterday. It's like I had these right by my side. It's like, oh, no coincidence. I love it.
no
Thank you.
coincidence, no coincidence. And so understanding that, um, I just beseech you, start following the quantum physics, quantum geometry, because we are uncovering the fact that what we're talking about is fact and can be scientifically proven. I
Oh,
love the experiment where it's proven that things do not exist until they're witnessed.
mm,
And, I had that experience in July when I was on a road trip returning home. And I literally turned my head and I saw the landscape pixelate and form as I was turning my head. I could see it forming as I was turning my head. And so why are the Tetons? We all know what the Tetons look like, right? Well, that's because we all have a similar consciousness and we're sharing and affecting each other's consciousness. We're programming each other,
that
right?
that that is the
Yep.
light. That is the frequency. That
Yep.
is exactly what it is.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. And so really what is happening with me now is I'm being very, very intentional around who I'm around and what they're programming me with. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, yes. And it has to do with your own ascension process as far as you keep learning, experiencing, but also standing in your own power. That is the recalibration of the 24th chromosome with the light codes. So when we talk about the light codes, that is the violet flame codes that are here now, where we're experiencing with all the solar flares and the Schumann's resonance, where it's changing day to day to day, for us to clear a lot of the old distortion energy loops. So when you hear about distorted energy loops, that is the survival stuff. That is the fear. That is the anger. That is the resentment, the shame, the unworthiness. And so as you start to do this work, start to bring the focus inside, you start to form a field of protection that as a light being, nothing can touch you. And unless you allow it. And that's why I always say only the light can come into my field. And when people say, well, don't you protect yourself or whatever, it's like, I don't have to anymore because I am the light. However, a lot of people are fearful of that light because they don't recognize it, and they know it triggers something in them that has something that happened. But in reality, what we are here to do, in my interpretation and what in my own life, is to send that compassion of light out and just observe, not absorb. And people will start to see that. That's their wake up call. That's when something has to happen. They hit their bottom, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a job situation, COVID 2020, that was the wake up call, is that it stopped us. It was part of the shift of consciousness, of the paradigm shift, exactly what is happening here within our cellular structure. And that's where I go back to the science. I go back to that and explaining to people that the compassionate field of love is who we are. That is the divine code that we all have, the gateway, the heart gateway, which you were talking about before, and I was too. It's all about that. And when we feel it, nobody can take that feeling away from us. And yes, we don't resonate with certain people anymore, and they don't resonate with us. However, it makes them curious. And it also imprints that seed into them when they are triggered or something else happens. Where did I learn that? Where I felt that. And then all of a sudden you start to get the people that you came in contact with years ago, they come to you. They remember something because that seed's been cast. And that's the mustard seed if you want to go back there. But it is, we are farmers, we're seeding the earth, and now it is germinating. It's germinating, it is waking up. And that is the energy that's here, the water, the fire, everything that we put in our bodies, what we breathe in, what we feel, it's all opening up to our own power. And we are divine. We are divine beings.
Oh, yes, we are. And it's like I'm looking around now at a very busy room.
Oh dear.
No, it's just and as we're talking, it's like how many souls here, what level are they at? And I want to explain a little bit about um ascension, not necessarily being the right word. It is waking up. It is waking up. And the reason for me, I've been doing a lot of, so what are these dimensions after all, right? And my my aha is it's us. We are existing simultaneously in every single dimension. And the waking up is being aware in the fourth dimension, being aware in the fifth dimension, being aware, and it's being aware of self, being aware of who we are dimensionally, right? And if we don't leave this dimension, we just wake up to the other dimensions. And in doing that,
That's the rebirthing.
yes, yes. And I get to witness myself versus being myself, right? And I'm doing a meditation on Tuesday all about witnessing yourself rather than being yourself, right? Because that, I think 2000, I want to say 2012, 2013 is when I literally did that, right? And by mistake, nothing's a mistake, but that was not my intention. And that was when I realized that I am the universal mind,
We are
right? That,
one.
and I
One.
didn't want to leave. I was home. I was home and I had to be sent back, right? Kicking and screaming. But it's a beautiful thing when you realize that this is just a simulation and a game that you get to play.
Exactly. A role. We all play the role, but we're all part of the pieces of the universe and why we are here. And understanding that the word ascension, a lot of people think of Jesus ascended up into the high. And understanding what 3D density is, the physical body, and anything above that is higher dimension. It's a different dimension in a different being able to visualize and see. And anything above that is higher dimension. And a lot of people say, well, what dimension did you come from? 17th, 18th, 10, 5, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's that we are on a timeline change. And yes, the timeline has changed, and we have. And I think we talked about this before last month. 999, 910, and 911 was all part of the trilogy of this timeline change of going farther, faster, more profound as we go forward. And it was a trilogy, those 3 days of something specifically that happened in the energy field in the earth. And especially 9/11, when it was actually 24 years ago that we had 9/11. And that is instrumental as far as proving that our consciousness, our thinking is in the energy field around us. How the compassion, how that eternity sign is used from the heart as we think and love the compassion.
Yeah,
It's
those 3 days, I had gotten a message on my road trip to be off the road by 9/9. right? It didn't
Yeah.
matter where I was, but get there and stay, right? And a lot happened in
Those
that
3 days.
time frame,
Hmm.
right? And every place that I left, I was in St. Paul. I left St. Paul and there were shootings in the school system. I was in Utah. I was in Utah and there was a very famous shooting that we don't need to go on. I was in Colorado right after a shooting, and again in the school. Like every place I went, the darkness had hit. And I thought, what a blessed experience, those souls choosing to do
Exactly.
this for us to wake up, right? Right. And yes, souls choose to come and sacrifice their third dimensional experience for us to wake up.
Absolutely.
And we think it's horrific. And from a third dimensional perspective, yes, it is. But I look at those souls and think of how brave they are
Hmm.
and how blessed they are to say, I can do that. Now, and I will give the example. I love this client's example. I am so much love because we're all love. I can do that. I can go and be that child. I'll take that family on. As soon as she hit her mother's womb, she remembers this. She was like, holy shit, no. Right?
Exactly.
Right. And then she's like, oh, here I am. Right. So
I
because
I love
we are love. Go ahead.
I love that example, and I share one of my own personal stories is that I come from a family of 10, 8 kids. I was number 6, and I'm the only one left. And when my brother had passed in 19, all my loved ones were there, and I kept saying, "Oh boy, another one," because I've helped 4 of my siblings pass over. And I said, "Why me? Why again?" And they all came and said, "This is exactly what you came here to do." To help transition and to understand we are all part of the collective, and we purposely chose the families to learn all these things. Exactly. And many of them are already back on this plane and also still in spirit, so we can be in both at the same time. People don't understand that. And it's like our love will never die. We will always be together, and we purposely have those family experiences to get higher frequency, to come more from compassion.
I have got to tell you. So this is, you don't have to believe me. This is my perspective that energetically, I can be anywhere around the world. I can
Yeah,
be.
don't.
And so, Cindy,
Hmm.
and Cindy and I are on the same path. Like her, literally, I will say something and she'll go like this in a meeting, go, I can't believe you just said that. Right. And I've told her, I said, I think we are the same
Yeah,
soul
yeah,
that said, I'm going to experience this from different perspectives. So we're experiencing the same experience, but from different perspectives because we're so in alignment. It is insane. So we're not twin flames. We are one flame.
and a lot of people have different interpretations for twin flames, soulmate, all this other stuff. And sometimes I have a client that comes to me and they're, they feel drawn to a certain person they don't understand. And it's like, it's part of the karma, trying to come back and fix the karma or have closure on it and move on type thing. We are all part of this. And I remember, I was part of the Cryon team for many years, and one of our events, back in 16 or 17, when we talked about that and showed scientifically how we are connected in our soul vibration, and we think the same and we work together in the same, and it's true scientifically. It's true. The same with, twins having the same DNA, knowing when something happens across the world at the same time. It's the same as understanding when you're thinking of somebody and then all of a sudden they call on the phone. It's like, how did that happen? Because we are energetically connected, all of us.
So, here's an example. So I was talking with the woman that I'm with right now, um, And I was telling her that in the spring, I'm going to be investigating tiny homes.
Yes.
Yesterday on the news, they were talking about tiny homes being built in San Diego. And she said, "Isn't that unusual that you mention this?" And I said, "No." And she didn't understand. I said, "Honey, this happens to me every day." There was a time when I went, "Wow, look at that." Now it's like, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. All right, now, I know that that's true. That's what I'm going to be doing. It's
right?
validation. Validation.
Yeah, yeah,
It's serendipity and synchronicity. And a lot of people don't understand that, but that's the wisdom that we learned to be able to understand that when it happens. That there's no such thing as coincidence. And I used to always call it as God instances. It is. It's universal connection of how we're connected in soul source,
yes,
God source,
yeah,
soul source.
yeah, yeah. It's really when you start to understand that we are all come from that universal mind, if you
Exactly.
will. We
Oneness.
are just consciousness. That's all we are, right? And so awakening is connecting with those dimensions where our consciousness is playing, right? Because it is a game. So around, and I cover this frequently when I'm working with people, around the seventh dimension is where we create our blueprint. And part of that is creating the beliefs that you don't realize are beliefs. Like the fact that I'm on an earth and there's gravity is a belief. The fact that I have to breathe air and eat food is a belief, right? These beliefs we took on as we created our stories in order for us to play this game called Earth School,
Interesting.
right? Right. And so that's where we formulated. And that's why some people can bend a spoon because they didn't take on that belief. Right. It's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go without that belief and then see what happens. They're twisting the game. It's their game. And all of this is our own game. Like the only thing that's real, Sheila, is me. You are a bit actor in my story,
Hmm.
right? And I have created you to be here for me to play with,
I like that.
right? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Playmates.
Yeah. Right?
My time in the sandbox.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And you don't have permission to come in my sandbox,
And
right?
I'm going down the slide first.
You can, yeah, just if it's metal, be sure you don't have shorts on. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying, right? Um,
And-
and it's okay. I have a client, and with him years ago, I was using the stage and the projector because he's a dancer and he's a choreographer. And so that worked for him. And he said to me years ago, "I know there are people there, but I don't see them anymore because his vibration is thick. It's so
and
high."
you just put that out there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really like, and he's just like, he's love. I mean, his energy is love, 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 love. And so I said, well, that's because you know that they might be in the theater with you, but you're not letting them on your stage. They're on their stage and you're like, yeah, cool, you stay there.
Hmm.
You are choosing the actors.
Hmm.
You are choosing your support cast right now.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting how his life is evolving around that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly with one of my clients that I had the same thing. We had to let go of those distortions of belief and behaviors and why they're there. Absolutely. We're
It,
talking the same language, just different words. And
yes.
and we have to, I believe, make it simple for people. And when you talk about consciousness, people says, all these words, ascension of consciousness, recalibration, retune. what the heck are you talking about? Because it hasn't been talked about. And now it is. And scientifically, like, Heart Math Institute, which I'm a heart math coach, is that proved that when 9/11 happened, all right, how this energy is coming out with compassion from our hearts. What we think is what we feel is projected out. The eye situation, which you were talking about, how you see certain things, but also the geomagnetic machines in the earth resonating and picking up the data and the satellite with the actual frequency around the earth. And when 9/11 happened, that it started to change this frequency 15 minutes before the towers even hit. And then 2 days afterwards, it went right off the chart. So showing that what we think, how we believe, how we feel is affecting the field.
I'll give a very one-to-one example. I used to crew for motivational speakers. And in this particular event, the final exercise was the crew was in the center, some outside. Everyone was in a circle, and they walk in doing a chakra meditation and then walk back. So they were walking back, and one gentleman was on the ground and wouldn't move. So I got behind him and just was throwing love at him. He was so angry. He got up and was in my face, and I didn't move. I mean, I was like, he's not going to hurt me, right? And so he just needs more love and understanding. And he ended up leaving the room. And the men that were in the room were like jumping off their chairs, ready to come to save me. And like they didn't need to, because I believed I was completely safe, that this person was going through his own thing, which had nothing to do with me. He was just angry that I was throwing love at him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Lots
Right?
of blockages.
Right?
Yes.
And so he had to go and deal with that. And that's why he left the room. He had to go deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's okay.
Yep. So Sheila,
Yes.
I could go on and on. We could talk for
Right.
hours on this. But we're going to be talking later on today and doing a live. So
Mhm.
if people wanted to get in touch with you and learn more about what you do, what's the best way for them to do that?
To go to my website, and it's Sheila, Sheila, Tillich, TILLICH.com /links if you want to know kind of like everything I do. But my website is SheilaTillich.com. That's very good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sheila, for your time. I so appreciate it. And everybody, thank you for listening to the Empowering Process podcast. If you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up. If you make a comment or have a question, we'll get back to you. So please do put it in there. And if you know someone who could use a little guidance, share this out. And as always, subscribe so you know when the next episode is available. Thank you. Bye-bye, Sheila.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empowering Process podcast. Be sure to visit Gail at gailcraft.com to learn more about how she serves thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and goal seekers. And remember, if you like this broadcast, be sure to share and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.